Our chief guest this evening, World Grandmaster Anand Viswanathan ji, members of the Board of Governors, parents, alumni, Principal Madhav Saraswat and faculty members, and my young students. Greetings to everyone. I welcome all of you to the 124th Founders Day of the Scindia School. But before I begin with what I would like to share with all of you today, I would like to take a leaf out of the early years of a man's journey who went on to change the world with what he created. This is the story of his college years, when he accidentally stumbled upon something following his curiosity and intuition, and that turned out to be priceless later on. This man studied in a college that was fairly expensive for his time. After 6 months of studying, he decided to drop out because he didn't find the classes interesting enough for his appetite. One day, while figuring out his next step, he stumbled upon posters in his college that were beautifully hand calligraphed and that caught his fancy. So he decided to take a calligraphy class. This man was Steve Jobs. Yes, Steve Jobs was an expert calligrapher. Now you'd wonder how calligraphy had any practical application in a science student's life. So here's what happened 10 years later. He used all that he had learnt in calligraphy to design it all into the Mac, which was the first computer with beautiful typography. Now the fact is that if he had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would never have had the multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. So the fact is, you don't always have to go with the flow. You can create your own flow. As humans, we tend to easily compartmentalize things into what works and what doesn't, and then end up following a cookie-cutter approach towards building our careers. By taking a risk, you may not get the desired output, but you will definitely break through new doors and come out stronger from the time you started. And who knows, it may even lead you to a place of joy, a place that you love being for the rest of your lives. To my students, if you have a good mind, there is no reason for you not to stretch it to discover other frontiers. Let your dreams be as unthinkable and unimaginable as they can be. Set your eyes on a seemingly unattainable goal. Take a chance and go for it. With this, I also wish to share some observations with you that I have gathered throughout my experience in the education sector in general. My first observation is about the need for students to understand the purpose of self-discovery. Now, this sounds like something that only concerns adults, but I believe that the process must begin from school itself. I have learned that a majority of students across the board carry a myopic vision of self-growth and the purpose of education in enabling that self-growth. Our priorities as a student rightly lie in passing exams with flying colors, winning awards in extra and co-curricular activities, and being entrusted with important student positions. But undeniably, this is all extremely important given that you all will step into a highly competitive future where exhibiting excellence will not be a matter of choice but of survival. And while all that may sound daunting just now, here's what I want you all today to take home with you. Winning is not everything, but what is important in the process of competing is getting to know yourself. We have often heard people that say your biggest competitor is your own self. I want you all to take a step back and think, how is that I compete with myself unless I do not have a clear idea of my own potential, my own capacities, and certainly my own limitations? So you've got to continually ask yourselves at different stages in your school life, what is it that I really like? What is it that I do not like? Where do I want to be in the future? This process of inquiry, I believe, will begin your journey of self-discovery. My next observation is something that it took me a while to understand and implement for myself as well. Now, at the Scindia School, the focus is to instill in all of you excellence, not just with regard to academics, but also sports, arts, performing arts, and so on. But here's what I would like students to also imbibe. Aim high, but not in all directions. Start setting your mind towards that one thing that you would truly want to invest in the future. Because right after you complete your schooling, you will be tasked with making important choices about the direction of your lives. Focusing on fewer things that will only help you make those important decisions. For instance, if you want to make a hole in a wall, you strike at it once, and then you've got to continuously hammer at the same point where you struck first to create that hole. Conversely, if you take a different aim each time you hammer, what will happen? You'll end up making no impact. Again, this is not to say that you shouldn't strive to become an all-rounder, but my intention is to offer a different perspective, a different approach, and I want you to adopt the one that is good for you, not for your parents, not for your friends, not for your teachers. The best approach is the one that is best for you. But whatever you do, do it with grit, with integrity, with discipline. These are the three most important ingredients that will help you tide over the greatest challenges in life. Let me repeat: grit, integrity, and discipline. It's a testimony to the foresight of the founder of the Scindia School, Maharaja Madhavrao Scindia I, that these high values and the high benchmark of excellence and pertinence in the education we impart has been steering us since 1897. H.H. Maharaja Madhavrao Scindia's the first vision was not just to educate and develop faculties of students in school, but to nurture above all good human beings steered by a sound value system and an inquisitive spirit. Human beings who carry themselves with pride, but with their feet rooted in the ground. It is in this spirit that I am delighted to introduce to you a great role model for all of us, who was kind enough to take the time and share his story and guiding philosophy with all of us today. Today we have with us a man, or should I say a legend, who truly embodies the values I have been speaking of today, and is the man who brought chess to India, which was a hitherto uncharted territory in Indian sports, the living proof of mind over matter, Mr. Viswanathan Anand. As far as I remember, since the very beginning of his chess career, he was known for his speed, and this style of his would always put his opposition under pressure. There is a lot that one can learn from his momentous journey. Mr. Viswanathan started playing chess when he was all of 6 years old and became the youngest international grandmaster at the age of 14. The rest, as we know, is history. A Padma Shri at the age of 18, the age of a lot of you sitting here today. A Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna awardee at 22 and a Padma Vibhushan at 38. The Lightning Kid, a name that he was given by his followers, completely changed the way the world looked at India in the field of chess. So one might wonder that a prodigy like him must know the game in and out. What more is in it for him to learn? It's only a game after all. But you will be surprised to learn that until recently he would practice for up to 10 hours on certain occasions. Here's the thing. The more you practice, the more you discover something new. And if I may use the chess parlance, you don't relax until the score sheet is signed. Learning and unlearning are lifelong processes. So even when things are going well, try to look at them with fresh eyes. There's always some scope to better ourselves. Students, what we all tend to hold on to is a pedestal. People's achievements, but not the sacrifice that goes behind them, not the failures that make them who they are. For Mr. Viswanathan Anand, challenges, self-doubt and emotional crises were part and parcel of the game. For instance, in 2019, he missed a chance to qualify for the Grand Chess Tour finals by just 1.5 points. Now, I'm sure that the loss must have been disheartening for a 5-time world champion who had clocked bigger victories in the past. But despite the failure, what kept him going was his love for the game. I'd once heard him say in an interview, and let me quote, "Most chess games are not decided by your best moves. They're decided by your state of mind. The good or bad moves follow that," unquote. When he played the 2021 Grand Chess Tour, he turned the clock back in style and outplayed several younger, stronger rivals to finish runner-up. So no doubt, some challenges and failures may be hard to overcome. But at the end of the day, it is your attitude that decides who wins, you or your failure. So don't worry too much about losing. Instead, what you mustn't lose is your focus on your goal. Now, my last observation is more like an appeal to you. As you strive to attain success in your respective domains, you must uplift those who do not have the same privileges as you. When you help others succeed, your eventual payoff will always be far greater than your investment. Mr. Viswanathan Anand today is just not an inspiration for people, but he is also a mentor to many budding chess players, training them to become future chess champions. The idea is that wherever you go and whatever you do, you must always do your bit to touch others' lives. The best and the most successful innovations are those that provide a solution to a common problem. If you are an innovator, try to build something that helps make a difference to people's lives. That said, I hope that as you navigate your way in an uncertain world, let the Scindian values of integrity, honesty, patience, and compassion be your guiding light. Hold on to them tightly. Do well, but also do good. Thank you very much.